Hey Honest community, before we dive into this episode, we've got a quick free favour to ask. If you enjoyed the Honest Property podcast, please hit like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening from. It helps us grow, reach more people and bring on guests that you want to hear from. Thanks for being a part of this. We appreciate you more than you know.
Hello and welcome to the Honest Property podcast with your hosts Becky and Ruth, and we talk about unfiltered chats about building wealth, purpose and freedom that actually feels good. And today we want to talk about some reels that were trending on social media that made us think a lot about anti-materialism versus versus being materialistic. So this episode is all about anti-materialism, value, choice, or coping mechanism. So I saw a post the other day, which I had to share with Becky, so we thought we'd discuss it today on the podcast, is that someone wrote, I won't name who, but I'll read out what was said, which was, when people say they don't care about money or that wanting more makes you shallow, most of the time it's not coming from some enlightened place of spiritual wisdom. It's coming from shame and jealousy of what they don't have. Here's the truth. If you want more money, the first step is removing the shame around actually wanting it. Stop subconsciously labeling your desires as materialistic, like it's a flaw. Because there's a huge difference between appreciating the finer things in life and actually being materialistic. Wanting financial freedom doesn't make you shallow, but what money can buy is the ability to tip your server 50% without thinking twice, a comfortable car that doesn't break down every month, fast track passes so you don't waste your hours in the line, the peace of mind that comes with having options, the freedom to help others without it hurting your own finances. Money buys you choices and freedom. Money doesn't buy happiness, maybe not directly, but you know what definitely doesn't buy happiness is being broke and stressed about bills. I thought it was worth talking about because Becky and I are very much people who we're not against, like, we've had our materialism stage in our early 20s. I think like everyone goes through being influenced through really great marketing. But Becky and I are very much experience over things kind of people. We rather spend our money on having experiences with our family and people that are close to us rather than accumulating more stuff. But yeah, what do you think, Becky, about this?
I think that there is it's just that age old saying of money doesn't buy you happiness. Well, it does. It makes life a lot more comfortable. It truly does. But I think the flaw is when you start worshipping those material things and you feel like you cannot be happy without them, or they are the answer to your happiness. Um and so, and whether it's your values or is it like you're chasing this and then you're in a never ending struggle to try and gain those things just to prove self-worth.
Because the claim here is saying that if you reject luxury, you're just covering for failure. Do you believe that?
A little bit, and also not. I think it's like, I think it's
So do you think it's self-sabotage?
sometimes it's like if you outright reject it and say that and don't allow space in your brain for those things to happen in your life, then you'll never allow yourself that room to grow. And it's like, if you it's your environment as well. It kind of helps you expand. It's like people say, stay in that really nice hotel or fly first class, just so you get a taste of what it's like, and then you'll know what it is you really want. Because how do you know you don't want it if you haven't tried it? But then if you feel like you're doing those things because you're just chasing, is that the word? Chasing clout? Yeah, and like it didn't really make that much of a difference to your personal happiness, then why, like, there's no need to chase it then.
I think there is truth in, I think especially on social media, and they say the whole like de-influence you, trying to de-influence as if um striving for any sort of luxury is like uh, a bad thing, and I don't necessarily believe it's a bad thing. I think luxury can mean different to many different people. It's very subjective. Um, but anti-luxury, you're right in saying that when you're a product of your environment and what you consume, and I think there is truth in when you're exposed to certain luxuries, and if that's around you in your environment and that's curated around you, then you do have a high expectation of yourself. Maybe that's a bad and a good thing, but I think if you why would you want to have low expectation of your life as well?
Exactly. Like, why would you proactively put your baseline that low so you never have room for it to go above? Like, it's okay if you know your basic happiness level is here. But if you're like, I am undeserving of anything more than that, then you'll never experience more than that. And why wouldn't you? Like, you don't need to strive for it, but it's like, it's nice to have sometimes if you allow room for it. I think that's what I mean. Also, it's really subjective because luxury is like, what luxury is different in different places. So, like, we're both in Southeast Asia right now. In a lot of expat households, it's normal to have like a cleaner, a nanny, a cook, a driver, whereas that is seen as more luxurious in places like the West, in like England. So luxury is just like, it depends on where you are as well. And you can, I think we've talked about this in a previous podcast. You can choose how much you're like, for the cost of living is your choice, really, depending on where you just decide to live. So you can get those luxuries if you just move yourself a lot easier than if you stayed put. So not exactly. So not you like putting a cap on your potential. Yeah, a cap on your potential doesn't mean you have to tap into it, but it just feels like you've got a sour grape mentality and you're like, it's unnecessary.
It's like, what do you think about people who, they do flaunt this luxury on social media? I think you've got to be aware, like have more awareness that like this is also their business, their so image for their business to show a standard that people can aspire. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with also wanting to inspire people to want more, like better for themselves or more for themselves. And it's that person's choice to decide where the cap is. So they're okay, well, now I feel terrible because someone is showing that they have so much more, they're on a yacht or, uh, you, you know.
Oh, why are you mad? I remember there was a yacht that was parked up in Bristol Harborside. It was like a super yacht. And there was some people who were like, oh, such an obscene display of, yeah, such an obscene display of wealth. And I was like, why does this upset you? Like, I don't, how does this ruin your day? Like, really? Well done, them. And also, it's usually the same people who, if you said, okay, you can have like a year long of 5-star luxury hotel stays, would they say no? Probably not. Like, you wouldn't reject the experience if it came your way, whether it was through, it could have come through a result of your hard, like, compounded work, someone else's compounded work. You wouldn't say no. It's just it is hypocrisy in a lot of circumstances when people say that, because the desire for comfort and luxury is really human and anyone can relate to that.
I feel like from a our own experience as well, I would say this kind of ties in with So I think the crab mentality.
Do you want to explain what the crab mentality is?
A crab mentality is when people around you don't want you or your community, they don't, or people around you don't want you to succeed. So if you're doing better, even if you're doing better, that actually gives a lot back. People don't like to see that you're doing better. So the crab in the bucket, you're like a crab in a bucket and everyone's pulling you down.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out.
Yeah, so when you see people who may seem like they're doing better than you want to gossip and be angry at that person, and you will try and pull them down anyway. So that's why wherever you are, you're a product of your environment. You surround yourself with people. I know this is probably said so much and is like very obvious. Get yourself around people who are not going to pull you down, and you just celebrate each other for your own achievements.
Prattle plug here for the Aligned Wealth Collective. That is the exact space that we've created. You're welcome to join. We'll put the link in the description below. But yeah, carry on as you were saying.
Hey guys, if you're new to property investing, we know exactly how hard it is to figure out where to start. That's why we created the Beginner's Roadmap. It's your guide to mastering the fundamentals so that you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Just hit the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump back into this episode.
Yeah, we have been in that space where we were featured in the local news. We were featured in Long Press, and I did personally look at the comments.
Nor did I.
My husband was like, "Don't look." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna look because I really don't care because I know the people that I care about their opinions. I know the people that and they're the people that I know are going to root for Becky and I. But I know that there were some really awful comments from, especially on Facebook. I don't know why it's Facebook, but just people being very angry. And I get no one likes to see anyone succeed. And I feel this probably a sound bad, but I feel like it's very much in the UK. Nobody liked to see anyone succeed in the UK because everyone is not having a great time economically.
No. And I think it's the topic of money or like success and luxury is very cultural as well. Like I just said, like it's normal in some places to have certain luxuries as part of your day-to-day life. On different levels, like even if you're not earning like a lot of lower income families, even in Southeast Asia, have like nannies of some kind, like without it needing to be like a luxurious nanny. Um, and in the West, I feel like it's like you not wanting it is as a virtue signal by saying I don't care about money anyway. I said, well,
You're telling yourself that then, that
yeah,
money buys you so many options. You don't have to accept all the options, but if you don't, you can accept a few options. And if you have surplus of money, think about what you can do to help someone else's life, not just like thinking about yourself. Like if you have more money, it give releases. We've had this talk with one of our guest experts inside the AWC where it was, what is like the most important freedom for you right now? And is it time? Is it location? Is it what were the other ones? Time, location. Well, there was another one. There's another one. But if you don't have money or you don't feel, you have, well, yeah, that's it, financial. If you don't have one of these that like you can aspire to have, then you're kind of you're staying stuck in the same loop and you're choosing to stay stuck in the same loop. Like why wouldn't you want to build financial security in owning assets, putting your money into diversifying into a portfolio so that when you retire you're safe.
but we're talking about materialism.
Yeah, but with materialism, people, it's the same, it's the same thing. It's no different from also investing. And these people who show materialism online, there is an element of inspiring so that you actually do something about it. If you rocked up and you go on social media, for example, and you're just wearing that, you do look after yourself at all.
I mean, Ruth and I are often like, we are, we are very outdoorsy girls. We are very, I wouldn't say the most polished women. We could probably do better, put a bit more effort in. Um, but I think that it's like science and just facts that first impressions matter, and people will judge you on whether you are going to be, a good person to network with based on what you look like, what you're wearing, what you have. Actually, I want to touch on um, this Netflix documentary that I watched the other day. Oh God, what was it called? It was about a con man, and he basically pretended. Sorry if you have yet to watch this. I don't remember the name, so he's not like. I'm just gonna say it. Put your fingers in your ears if you're planning on watching this, even though I don't know the title. But anyway, it's about a con man, and there's a guy who conned a woman into taking hundreds of thousands of pounds away, like from her, because she believed, largely based on his appearance. I mean, he also lied about his last name. He said he was a Rothschild, part of the Rothschild family, but his appearance made her believe that he was wealthy, and so it kind of makes you feel like, well, if I'm gonna sign up to giving up a lot of energy, whether it's getting into a relationship, getting into business with this person, or even having a kid, because they look like a good, prospective person, successful person to be with. And that was because he was spending a lot of the money stealing from people on luxury designer labels. He was dressed head to toe in Ralph Lauren and Dior and stuff. And that first impression obviously worked for him, and it untapped hundreds of thousands of pounds because people believed from sight that he was a well put together, successful person because he was wearing these designer brands. And I'm not gonna lie, if I see somebody, like, I know people who they walk in and I'm impressed. And there's something to be said about if you're dressed well, or there are some designer brands, depending on obviously how you put it together, can make you signal to society or your business prospects, or if you're going to walk into a meeting, that, I'm doing good. I'm doing well.
You know what signals to me on social media, or when I meet someone in person, it's not wearing the Ralph Lauren or Chanel. To me, it's when they wear expensive outdoors wear. That shows that you've achieved your freedom. To me, I'm like, oh, that's the influence that I genuinely like the look of, when it's really good quality outdoors or active wear. I guess that's no different from someone holding a Chanel bag, but that's just the I have, I will be influenced and go, oh yeah, okay, they've actually made an effort, even if they're wearing what's considered outdoors gear, but it's well thought out.
Yeah, I also find the super the wealthiest people that I know are really understated. Like it's uh, a low effort, but still put together, materialistically in the way they present themselves.
I think it comes to grooming, doesn't it? I mean, sometimes I personally believe in when you're meeting someone for the first time, you've never met them before. I think it's important to make a good first impression. But if you're showing up on a business online, you're constantly having to make a good first impression, aren't you? Because you're going to be have eyes on you from multiple people that have never met you before. But when you meet someone in real life, the way that you present yourself the first time is so important, because the first impression always matters. There's truth in that. And then you can wear some your pajamas the next time, but you've already made the first impression. But I get where, like, on social media, when you're having new people come to your page, you're constantly making that first impression. So why wouldn't you show up best that you can? I mean, we don't all the time, but that's also us being true to ourselves too.
Before we continue, here's a quick thought. Ever feel like there's just never enough time to focus on what really matters in your business? You don't have to do it all alone. As they say, a great team makes everything easier. That's why we've partnered with the Freedom Geek. Their talented Filipino VAs help us with tasks like admin and podcast editing, just like for this episode, giving us the freedom to focus on what really moves the needle. If you're looking to reclaim your time and to work smarter, then check out the Freedom Geek. All the details are in the show notes. Now let's get back to our conversation.
And also we have said about doing better, because like it does matter. Like whether you like it or not, it does matter. And I think the people that are in networks with people who are coming from another level of wealth and privilege, like you can see when, like, say there's there's nothing wrong with this at all if this is you or if you're listening to this, but say like there's somebody with a very brightly colored car that's covered in glitter. Let's say like that person. I kind of just read that this person's not going to be like, because I get like screaming so much visually for attention and validation. That's where my brain goes when I see that kind of display of materialism. They're unlikely to be as successful as somebody else who's understated. They probably have a capsule wardrobe because it saves them time every day. They're doing more wholesome things that tend towards a more outdoor lifestyle, even if it is with really expensive designer clothes, but only expensive outdoorsy clothes. But that's only because certain people who are at that level of wealth would recognize it, you know?
Yeah.
But against these influences, because we want to keep this conversation as balanced as possible, is that anti-materialism can keep you focused and grounded, and making more choices that have more conscious values, which obviously we're also really about. And freedom from consumerism, because you can just get stuck in that wheel of trying to chase for the things that are going to signal, and those things often trend, like they go through seasons, and then you have to keep keeping up. But then
I would also say that the people who choose more materialism, as in the items, especially online, tend to be people who are still in acquisition stage. So you're being mental hustle stage. When you get to a certain point where materialism doesn't really matter. I think there's stages of it, isn't it? Where you get to a point where materialism doesn't really matter, but you still keep yourself groomed because it's still impressions get open doors, and you can pretend it doesn't. That you simplified your materialism to less but better quality, but you know you cannot deny that grooming and shows that you care about yourself, which means you care about clients or other people or investors that you choose to work with.
And there's also levels of luxurious brands, like you were saying, that show that you have more conscious values, even if it was with a luxurious brand. Not that that's like necessarily better, but I think even if you're choosing luxury, you can choose really smartly. The problem is, personally, is when you're buying things that become, like if you're chasing trends, like I was saying earlier, those become liabilities because you're just constantly putting things out. But you can actually buy really luxurious things that could even go up in value, yeah, or they're timeless, yeah, and that will actually save you or make you money.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some people are really selective when they're buying their cars, because some models of cars will like hold their value. Well, they might even go up in value, but then I personally couldn't deal with them. I can't deal with the maintenance of any cars, just more than I really care to spend attention or money on. But you can choose selectively. Okay, let's go back to arguments against, because we are trying to keep this balanced. I know right now it sounds like we're very much for luxury, but I think if you know Ruth and I at all, we aren't. We don't demonstrate luxury through materialism. Personally, that's because I have a location fluid lifestyle at the moment. So I literally cannot bring things with me, which is a really great way to filter what's actually important for me to bring. And Ruth's also just recently moved to Malaysia. So there's I don't think he wanted the faff of bringing stuff with you. And more and more people are realizing the more stuff you have, when you buy stuff, you're responsible for that thing as long as it's with you. If you're in one fixed place for a long period of time, then maybe it's worth, like, it brings you enough joy for it to be worth you keeping and tending to. But for us personally, I don't think so. Luxury does not mean success. I think we all recognize that. Well, I mean, not all of us recognize this. Some people are really impressed by big, designer
But it
things.
does help give people motivation if that's what they want. Like, a lot of people start with material, like start there and then go, oh, actually, not all of these things matter so much. But I think you go through a cycle, you go through this evolution. And I think it does start from materialism.
Yeah, but just the chasing for the sake of chasing is just proof of your worth is a waste of time and energy. And I think we touched on this as well. Dismissing anti-materialism ignores context like sustainability, ethics. How was that thing made? Your spirituality, minimalism. Not that everyone needs to be a minimalist.
Materialism can be, then you're buying, if you can't be completely anti-materialism because you end up shopping in places that like contribute to child labor, or like so many other because you're not thinking about the processes that came from the item that you bought.
If you're going to buy something that is worth a substantial, I feel like anything you buy, whether it's luxury or not, needs to tick a few boxes that are essential to you. Whether is it ethical? Was it ethically made? I don't care if it was designer, luxury, or if it is luxury, you can get amazing ethical luxury brands that will last you a really long time. Will it last you a long time? How many times are you going to use this and average out the cost per wear of that thing?
Yeah, or you're just choosing something that that's just had really good marketing thrown at it.
Yeah. What are the other things? Like, do you feel good in it? Like, are you buying it because you think other people are going to like it? Or does it actually, do you feel good driving it or wearing it or being in it or having that experience? Or is it just so, like, I guess if you're taking pictures of with it, like, that is another purpose to serve as inspiration for your feed or for your own personal marketing. So that is something to factor in and nothing to be ashamed of. So I think whatever the thing is you buy, it needs to, for it to be in your life, it needs to go through automatic tick checklists through your brain of whether it's worth having in the first place. Yeah. And the idea that you have to want luxury to prove your ambition is maybe something that we can break. Like, you don't have to have it to prove ambition, and maybe that's just a mindset society can shift it a little bit. Yeah, I think it depends on the generation. Like, there'll be like the younger, like maybe Gen Z, like, you see right through it. They don't care too much. Although the whole Labubu thing, I don't understand that, but that is like the newest luxury signaling that I've seen, and I don't understand it. Maybe we used to collect TY jelly babies, jelly deep jelly babies, jelly babies, teeny babies. That's what they make me think of, and I'm like, why would you want to spend that much on that? I don't know.
So what I heard is because the whole argument for that is because young people can't afford more like buy a house or invest into certain things, or just they can't own more expensive things anymore. So there are a younger generation that are bought into materialism, even if it's like a really expensive croissant or a really um, expensive lifestyle things, because they have false hope in where the economy is going. So they need instant gratification right now because they don't feel like they can invest in their future. I get that too. Like maybe having like the moment of buying something that they probably didn't really need makes them feel good in the moment because they can't see where their future is going to be by even because they can barely save.
Yeah. I think trends go up and down. Like when people reject luxury, it's only a matter of time before they're like craving luxury. Oh, there was this. I saw a brief reel about it. There is, is it some Richie's daughter? I feel like there's a celebrity, daughter of a famous singer, and she, a lot of her social media was based on old money, wealth looking lifestyle, very very class aesthetic. And then she became a mum, and her content suddenly became preparing lunch for my kids before they go to school, and she was all scrappy and just looking like most mums do. And people were upset with her for not providing, like, her branding was essentially an inspirational image of luxury, but she became real and people didn't like it. But weirdly, her luxury image was her unique selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's psychology. Like trends will go one way and then it'll swing the other way, and it's just going to swing right back again. Ultimately, our aligned wealth stance on this is mu awareness, like with everything. Um, Rejecting materialism doesn't mean you're a it isn't automatically a failure mechanism. It can actually be deep alignment. Um, but real sabotage, self-sabotage, is not rejecting luxury or not allowing it in your life. I would not say no to I don't say no to lovely opportunities when they come up. Why? Um, but the flaw is building your whole identity on chasing that thing. Do you have any more to add?
Uh, Wealth is about freedom and alignment. It's not necessarily about an actual item like a handbag or a car. It's like what feels good and brings you joy. With the influencers online, the view is that there's cultural pressure that equates to luxury and success, which is why there are a lot of people that burn out or feel
Behind the scenes, I bet they do.
they feel less than if they don't keep reproducing this materialism or worshipping it. But you can want comfort without worshipping materialism.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. What would you let us know in the comments or in the DMs what you think about anti-materialism? For us, we think it's a choice, and don't self-sabotage yourself by limiting the luxuries in your life. But focus on building self-worth around what it is you do bring into your life.
yeah.
Thank you for listening on today's podcast episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.